Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. You know where you are, the 9 at 9 with me, Tigo. And we're right in the heat of the holiday season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of that stuff. And, everybody depends on these little things called cell phones now, right? We all, we don't go anywhere. They say you're more likely to go back and get a cell phone than you are to go back and pick up your spouse or something. You're going to go get your phone first. That's what they say. So if that's the truth, then when is the right time for your child to get his or her first cell phone? And if I'm asking that question, then you know who I'm asking. Yep, you guessed it. Katherine Sellery is here, and we're going to talk about shopping for cell phones for Junior and Susie. So sit right there. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Yeah, you heard me right. It's the middle of the holiday season. Now, if you're watching this in 2025 and it's July, come on. It's November, end of November 2022 right now. And we're talking about Cyber Monday and Black Friday and all that stuff. But people are buying their kids' cell phones like before they're actually doing full sentences. Katherine, is that what we're supposed to be doing?
Hey, how are you? Good to be here.
Good to have you.
Thanks. It's a complicated question, but to your point, I mean, we use these devices for everything now.
Everything.
We can't even go into a restaurant and order, right, without having to scan the QR code to find out what's on the menu. So a phone is not a phone like it used to be just to call someone. We do everything. We get directions on these phones. We get our menus on these phones. We look up where to go for this, that, or the other thing on these phones.
Bank transactions, everything. Everything's on the phone. And on the other day, it's been a couple of months, I saw a couple, they had a baby carrier. It had a phone bracket on it, and their cell phone was playing cartoons to the baby in the seat. And I'm like, okay, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, these kids are growing up in a completely different world than the one you and I grew up in.
Exactly.
Where, I can remember cell phones, and when they came out, right?
The brick. Do you remember the brick?
I had one of the ones, I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now they are as common as a book.
Yeah.
Right.
More common.
Yeah. More common than a book. So a lot of parents, I do think, don't have any guidelines for like, well, what is the right time to do this and when and why? So, maybe the first place we start with is actually identifying the purpose for your child, right?
Okay.
Because when, they're asking for that first phone, before you shoot them down, ask about why they want the phone. A cell phone can be a vital part of socialization outside of school. Children without them can feel left out and cut off. They provide a security blanket for overly anxious kids so that they can reach their families should they feel the need for support or guidance. So this is a conversation where you have that opportunity to really listen deeply for, what is this? Is this something to meet a need? Or is it just something I want so I can be cool and fit in, which of course is meeting a need too. But it can also bring up values collisions about whether or not, you value some of the things that your children are putting a lot of emphasis on, especially if it's more about things like prestige and the phone somehow makes me cool or something along
Mm-hmm.
those lines. But they're
Mm-hmm.
not cheap. And for kids
No.
that are struggling to, remember where they put things, it may be really important for, you to take into consideration whether or not this is really the right next thing for them. But it's important to listen. I think that's really the place we start. Listen for what their purpose is, to figure out why it is that they've chosen to want that phone.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I agree with that. But, like you said, it's not cheap. I mean, these smartphones now cost more than computers.
Yeah, they
You
can.
know, they're faster than computers too, but they cost more than computers. So the
Yeah, they're
question
very
becomes,
sophisticated. And I think that, your point is that it's all about maturity.
right,
So, and here's the bottom line. Reality is that it's not necessarily that all 8-year-olds have the same level of maturity, or 10 or 12, or even getting into the older grades. So you can have some young kids who are mature past their age, for
right,
whom keeping track of their possessions is not difficult. And you can have others where you would just think, oh my God, I would no more than give you my phone than jump off a bridge. So, those kinds of things, and understanding where your kids are, you could say, hey, I'm totally interested in having the conversation, but until we're able to consistently not lose things, I think it
right.
would be very expensive for us to take this into consideration. What do you think?
So then the question becomes, what are the steps to know? Like, I understand, you got to talk to them, you got to listen, you got to get on the same playing field. But what else do you need to know? And then what kind of phone? That's the next question. It's
Mhm.
like, are you going to get them the bells and whistles smartphone that costs more than a computer? Or they have like starter phones, correct? That they could start
They
with.
do. They do.
Okay.
They actually
Okay.
have phones that are, I think they even call them starter phones for kids. And so
Okay.
those are the starter phones, which could end up being that happy medium. So that, one of the concerns I think a lot of parents have, and we should have, is internet safety concerns, right?
Right.
So I would almost across the board say that before you go the next step, aside from listening and considering maturity, you sit down and watch some educational videos with your child about online
Mm,
safety and privacy, because these social media impacts on children's mental health is very heavy. And we
mm,
know that it can bring more anxiety, depression, body image issues, even suicidal ideation. So phones can be a gateway to social media, which can be a gateway to a whole host of problems. And just by not having the gate, you can protect your children. And at the same time, there's only so much we can do about controlling what's around. Kids can borrow other people's phones, for heaven's sakes, right? So
right.
it's not just that, it's that we need to give them the skills from within so that they're educated, that they understand what the dangers are, the advantages are, and find some strategies together about how they're going to deal with other people's kids being, or other people's phones being available to them, even if they don't have their own. And then you can talk about it. Well, it sounds like you're really maybe the anxious child who wants to be able to reach you. So for that, one of the smartphones that are developed for kids would really help.
Okay. So then I know you have steps. What are I think it's 4 steps, right?
Yeah.
What are the 4 steps parents should know before they even think about going to the local phone store and picking up a phone for their child?
Yeah. And I mean, we've basically been covering them. So number one,
Right.
identify what their purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
So get down to their why and really listen to them so that they feel like you understand from their perspective why it's important. Then
Okay.
communicate your concern. Let them know about the issues with regard to that gateway issue, that this can really be a gateway to anxiety, depression, body images because of social media being so detrimental. And then
Right.
talk about maturity, and where they
Mm,
really are, and, on a spectrum, how good they are at managing their belongings. And then not all tech is binary, right? So when it comes to your child's first phone, it really is up to you. It doesn't have to be the simple yes or no. So if you
okay.
would, like many, love to have a way for your child to contact you, but still are hesitant, then find those middle of the road solutions. Consider the phones that only allow communication with a select group of individuals. Limit the apps and internet access. Think back to your conversation about your child's needs. when making the decision to be sure that it's going to meet their needs as well as yours. And if they want the new iPhone, that's a whole different story, because before you could even consider making that investment, you really need to be sure that they're using that phone not to prop up self-image. Because I worry when kids need the new shiny thing so that they feel like they fit in. And I would want to work on self-esteem and really helping them get a better, stronger sense of self without having to load on all the new gizmos.
Wow. Okay. Before Alan cuts us off, because I saw the 2-minute warning go by, I'm sure the 1 minute seconds away. There it is. How do people find you? How do they get in touch with you? I know when I need to know anything about family, I just pick up the phone and say, hey, Katherine, help. But what do other people do?
So good. Thanks. Yeah. Go to consciousparentingrevolution.com. And we have actually a lot of resources there, blogs, and every week we publish a newsletter. If you want to get on our mailing list, please do. And if you want, go to freeparentingbook.com. And at freeparentingbook.com, you can download my #1 Amazon bestseller, which is going to give you 7 strategies to keep your relationship with your kids from hitting the boiling point.
Woo, I love that. All right. Thank you so much for being on. You are the best. I'm going to call you again next month because we got to talk about anxiety. We got to talk about all the stuff that's going on. So
Absolutely.
I thank you so much, my friend, for hanging out with me.
Tigo, thank you so much.
Hey, everybody. I hope that helped. I always talk about my grandkids, and we needed to know, when is the right time to buy them a phone? So I hope that helps during this holiday season. As always, I hope you come back next time. I'm Tigo. I'll talk to you next time.